right, we're here with Daniel Carcillo, CEO of Wasana Health. Sorry, I always pronounce it Wasana. Is it Wisana?
Wisana, Wasana,
All right.
same, but different. Yeah, Sana's heal in Latin, and usually with the TBI community, it's a pretty tight-knit community that shares information because there's not a lot known about symptomology and treatment. So we Sana, we heal together.
Sounds good. Sounds good. So nice to speak with you. Last I saw you was at Wonderland when you were speaking on stage. I really enjoyed that talk. Actually, it was good to get to know you and where you're coming from and where the company is coming from. I was impressed actually, and it's nice to have a founder and an executive that's personally involved. That's always a good thing in the early stages when you're grinding in the corners. Sorry to throw in the hockey cliches.
Sure.
But
no, it's not a cliche, man. It's accurate. This running a business isn't for the faint of heart. Running a drug development business is definitely not everybody's cut out for it, but it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm gonna hit a mental pause here. You're a bit staticky. Maybe you're too close to the mic, or turn the mic down. Maybe I'm getting some like reverb.
Let me see. Let me try going out and coming back in because it.
You sound good now. Maybe just don't get too close. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and I'll just edit this pause out. And
cool.
That was a good intro.
Better.
All right. Cool. So yeah, nice to speak with you. And I mean, you guys have been in the news lately, so maybe just a little summary of what you guys have been up to, get people like updated. I mean, last week there was like a little mini bull run you guys went on stock price wise. Like I was doing my math, but almost 50% in like 5 days approximately. So, and that's in conjunction with some announcements. So yeah, maybe fill us in what you guys have been up to.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we submitted a 375-page briefing booklet to the FDA quite some time ago. That's what the first year's work was really geared towards, was getting our novel drug development program, Sana 13, cleared for a pre-IND meeting. We hit that milestone early, a quarter early, and under budget, and have just been continuing to execute. We booked the meeting for March 11th. We had the meeting. It was a written response from the FDA that we received around 5 o'clock Eastern, and it was extremely positive news. And be able to talk more about it in detail in the future. But essentially, we have a direct line forward for Sana 13, which is, like I mentioned, a patent-protected, novel and inventive composition of matter and method of use. And it's just a really exciting time for everybody. Our company has over 150 years of drug development experience within it. And we are excited to, I think, to my knowledge, be the second company working with a psychedelic molecule to get past this milestone other than Compass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I guess the market took notice a couple of days after the news, and maybe that's where things took off, or they saw people notice that you're kind of on a clinical path here. Yeah, well, congrats. And I was diving in a little bit into the press release regarding Sana 13. So yeah, it's slightly different in terms of how. So it's a psilocybin based compound.
Yeah, so we use synthetic psilocybin, synthetic CBD. We use different forms to allow for patentability and freedom to operate. We don't change the actual molecule. We just change the form of it. And we put that together. The difference between our company and the rest of the other companies is that we don't just use a high dose of psilocybin, which will be done in a clinic with therapist oversight. People will use that, right, when they were like me, when they're at the end of their rope. And that's one of the specific reasons that Compass chose treatment-resistant depression, because people have tried a lot of different things, and it's not the largest market. and they're willing to go and hallucinate. But the difference between our company and the others, I believe, is the way that I've used this medicine the last 3 years is in conjunction, it's high dose, and in conjunction with microdoses. So low dose psilocybin in conjunction with CBD, which is the only patented neuroprotectant on earth, patented by the US government in 2003. It helped me recover from brain injury, but to me, emotional major depressive disorder and physical major depressive disorder from a traumatic brain injury is no different. And so we're excited about, like I mentioned, the feedback from the FDA. And we have a direct line forward to get this medicine on people's counter that they can take on a daily basis. If you dive into the Compass data, albeit somewhat exciting, we all know that high dose psilocybin has a great antidepressant effect in the beginning over the course of 12 weeks. And then your receptors essentially get weak again, and you essentially get depression again. Nowhere in our healthcare system is that going to fly. So you need some type of chronicity of therapy or chronic therapy or adjunct therapy to just a high dose. And that is where our novel program comes in. And it's a combination of both high and low dose psilocybin taken on a very specific regimen.
So a sort of microdosing schedule after the initial loading dose, I think you guys called it.
Correct.
Right. Yeah, interesting. Personal experience. I've seen the personal benefits of that as well. So yeah, so I wish you luck, and hopefully more people can get their hands on this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and it's not just dependent to, psilocybin, low dose psilocybin, CBD. We have a theory about, what's going on here with the strengthening of receptors and activating the serotonin system. And pretty much any follow on from a large dose of psilocybin can be impactful. So, I mean, you saw last week that we released novel animal data to the world in a third-party FDA validated tail suspension model with a third-party lab, the Rolls-Royce of labs being Charles River. And we saw a almost 45% increase in people, in mice that used a high dose of psilocybin and then followed that up with 2 doses of imipramine, which is a classic tricyclate that people get prescribed for TBI-related depression. So there's something going on here. We're not the type of company to bang the drum and say that we're, going to take out big pharma, and we are going to work with it. We're going to work with big healthcare, and we're going to integrate into it. And I think that any adjunct therapy that can help people reduce the levels of the pharmaceuticals that they're on that may be working for their symptoms could be extremely helpful for everybody.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I guess, yeah, integrating not just how we take our medicines, but how the healthcare system works, how we integrate with the current systems and models and payers and big pharma, all that. Yeah. Okay, it's good. You're staying versatile and flexible. That's a good thing. So you have patent pendings on Sana, the delivery and the molecules themselves.
Yeah, the composition of matter in the combination therapy, the method of use, essentially the way that we use the protocols for specific indications. Our TBI patent has over 40 indications because we treat the symptoms. Mm-hmm. Right? We'll look at some secondary endpoints to prove, like myself, I'm definitely cured. I'm suffering from, mild dementia, and I am not, and I continue to get better. So eventually I do want to prove that the actual pathology of the brain has been cured. And then we have a novel delivery method in that combination therapy that will live on your counter and be self-administered.
Very interesting.
And we also have a patent on migraine. So that's on the migraine. It's the next indication that we're going after. It'll be a standalone self-administered at-home therapy.
Yeah, I saw that. So, just getting back to Sana 13, you think you would jump into a phase two, or you'd have to start at a phase one? I mean, the psilocybin, maybe there's enough data there for you to jump into a phase two, or do you have a path planned, or you're not sure? It depends on the feedback from the FDA.
Yeah, no, we've already gotten that feedback, and we're making the plan now. Obviously, it's suggestive, but we have a clear path forward. Let's just say that yes, it's accelerated for sure.
Got it. Okay. Well, let us know when you do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as soon as we finalize our plan, we'll let the world know. Right now, it's getting finalized.
Got it. So, I mean, TBI, I guess, is the impetus for you, and but your indications don't necessarily say TBI. It's more like, are you a traumatic brain injury focused company, or is it depression that happens afterwards, migraines that happen afterwards? I mean, how are you framing this? Maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
we're a drug development company. That's what we started as. Yes, we own clinics because I feel it extremely important to put a foundation in place where these drugs will eventually, on the high dose side, get administered. And I am about helping people now. So that's been a nice journey. But essentially, our foundation and our main core focus is drug development. And the FDA has no validated animal models that transfer into clinic to actually treat traumatic brain injury.
Mhm.
So that is why there's the 40 indications, and that is why you treat TBI related X, right? TBI related anxiety,
Mhm.
TBI related major depressive disorder. But we'll have some news for people on the go forward for Sana 13 and what that specific indication will look like.
Right. Yeah. So some announcements on indications perhaps going forward. Um, yeah. I mean, I guess that would give you a unique path forward. I don't think there's anybody else doing TBI indicated indications.
Nope,
Um,
there's
yeah.
not.
Okay.
Nope.
Yeah.
And then I mean, the off-label game, right? So anything that you can get in one of the broadest indications in the world, whether it's TBI related or not,
Mhm.
there will be the opportunity for off-label use.
Right. And yeah, I mean, getting you guys kind of in the news is great because we get to see all the other things you're doing. I mean, you've opened, so there was a string of announcements. I think the first one, I mean, through March was you opened your third clinic. Was that it?
Yeah, our clinics have been doing really well. I mean, it's a bit of a paradox. People are suffering, especially in a state like Illinois, where our now three clinics are based. But the good thing is, we're able to offer the biggest differentiator between us and all the ketamine mills out there that just have nurses and anesthesiologists is that we use psychiatry with oversight, and ketamine, FDA approved ketamine, is administered in our clinics, but there's also classic psychiatry going on, and there's a lot of psychotherapy with whatever you get, whether it's medicine or whether it's FDA approved ketamine. So it's a really great model. We're going to scale it pretty rapidly in the future, and we're excited to open up Naperville. Since taking over the two clinics and APS ketamine and having Dr. Nazir come on board since 2016, I'll just give you a sense of his expertise. He's administered over 4,000 ketamine treatments in these two clinics.
Mhm.
And really all he needed was a little support and help from a company like ours as far as marketing goes, and being able to digitalize all of the SOPs, IP protect them, and then scale rapidly. So we're now ready for that rapid growth. That's the work that we've done. But I've also wanted to, tweak the model, right? So psychiatry, insurance remunerated services, telemedicine, FDA approved ketamine and Spravato. We also do IV ketamine. And it's really great. And the reason I liked him is because he uses pharmacogenetics and he does some advanced diagnostics to really understand who you are and personalize the medicine regimen accordingly. And like I mentioned, like he's helped numerous people, hundreds, thousands of people. And in Naperville, we're going to start, playing around with the idea of all four forms of ketamine. There'll still be classic psychiatry with insurance remunerated services, a lot of telemedicine, more advanced diagnostics, just from my background of the brain, right? So things like QEEG and testing the vestibular system, which is our earlobe fluid, ocular system, which is the eye-brain axis, is extremely strong and a strong indicator of brain health, and hormones too. So that coupled with TMS that we're bringing in, which is 100% reimbursable for depression, and then DBT talk therapy, which is also 100% reimbursable, is going to be an interesting model. On the revenue side, we'll see the margins go from 15% to 30%. And, I'm adding in things like a meditation sound room. For one of the things I'm passionate about is addressing caregivers as well as patients that are on this journey with the sufferer. So, it'll be, delivering on this 2.0 that I call it. And then eventually we're going to expand into a bigger facility downtown. Got a 200 person wait list. We're going to be coming out with numbers, but we've seen some rapid growth for sure.
See that, yeah, and I see your excitement when you're describing this path forward, and I guess why you mentioned I used the term ketamine mill for some other people. I see that you want to get really more specific and personalized in helping people.
Yeah, I think it's listen, not to say that these ketamine mills don't help people, but they are mills for sure. They're all cash payer stuff, and if you want to scale something, and again, this goes back to my earlier point, and integrate into big healthcare and do something meaningful and create a foundation for a clinical network for mental health facilities, which is what I want to create, you need to integrate into insurance. You need to have therapist referral relationships, right? You need to make these relationships with big healthcare. The facilities that are doing TMS and ketamine on a bigger scale, it's great. The only problem is they have to wait 3 months to get somebody in. We don't, right? We get them in 7 to 14 days. And I really want to build something to fully either integrate into big healthcare or sit right outside of big healthcare, take their overflow, and then also take the people that don't have anywhere to go for a continuum of care. So just think of walk-in clinics like the emergency room in America. When the hospital system said, nah, it's never going to work. It works. So think of that for mental health clinics. There are no mental health clinics, and we are the company building that rapidly. Yeah.
And I mean, your focus is on helping people, like you said. So it seems like you're keeping that at the forefront. And it seems there's more, I mean, integration with the system. I mean, there's been, I think I just had it was from a month or two ago about a Blue Cross starting to accept ketamine in treatments for depression. So the integration is happening, and it's great that you're focused on being at the forefront of that.
Yeah, in our Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois is one of our biggest providers and payers, and Blue Cross Blue Shield Massachusetts reimburses. So we've actually mined the data from the 4,000 treatments that Abid's done, because we care about outcomes. So we want to track how these interventions are working in people. And we'll be making that presentation here in the coming weeks to Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois to get that insurance remuneration for people. And that insurance reimbursement just allows for more access and more people to come in and get treatment. And you're not just accepting people's cash like the other mills.
Are insurance payers currently reimbursing at your clinics?
For Spravato and all of the other classic psychiatry services that we offer, telemedicine. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. All right.
That's why TMS, bringing in TMS and these other services that are insurance remunerated is really important. The last part of the vision is bringing in holistic tools. float tanks, hyperbaric chamber,
Right.
cranial sacral, other things that have really accelerated my healing, and then getting ready for MDMA in 2024. Right, we have to build an infrastructure that can
Mm-hmm.
support therapists and can support these longer duration ceremonies. That doesn't exist right now, so
Yeah.
we're at the forefront of that as well.
Sounds good, Daniel.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds great. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, who knows what affects the market, but I mean, the market seems to have taken notice at least right now in the short term, and based on all this kind of plan of attack, taken together with like what was an interesting kind of market cap for potential investors. So maybe that's why people are finally taking notice. So
Yeah, we've
yeah.
been intentionally quiet, and we'll remain quiet, right? And it's people. This isn't cannabis, and I think a lot of people thought it was. And this is a longer pathway,
Yeah.
but the pathway is longer because this will be reimbursable through insurance, and it'll be prescribed by a doctor. There's a lot of decriminalization going on, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of talk about legalization, which I doubt very highly that will happen, simply because there is a lot of um, there's millions of people to be helped by going to a doctor, getting a diagnosis, getting a prescription for a medicine, and then taking that medicine and having it reimbursed through insurance. Not a lot of people can pay cash.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way to help millions and millions of people. And really be in conjunction, with that education factor and helping people understand what this is. I rarely say the word psychedelic anymore because unfortunately, I don't believe there's a psychedelic industry. We're just biotech. You're either biotech or you're building clinics and your healthcare
Mm-hmm.
using molecules that sometimes make people hallucinate, right?
Right.
So that's it. And I think we're seeing that in the industry. You're going to see a lot of consolidation, and a lot of people are going to fall away if you haven't been executing. And
Yep.
yeah, that's the reality now, baby.
Yeah, yeah, all those things are going to be happening in the upcoming year or two. Consolidation, like you said, in conjunction with broader kind of like holistic attack on getting these things, pushing things forward, education wise, legislation wise, through the clinical process. So, yeah, we're doing it. We're moving things forward, slow and steady.
Yeah, buddy.
Um,
It's
yeah,
happening.
yeah, it is. It is. So I appreciate the chat, man. And whenever there's news, let's do this again and keep people updated on what you're doing.
Yeah, I would love to. Appreciate everything you guys do. You guys have really done a great job of helping to raise awareness for the potential of what these medicines can do.
Yeah, it's great to be part of it. Best job I ever had.
Nice. Cool,
Yeah.
buddy. Let's talk again.
All right, let's speak soon. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you.